And so I think it's important that you understand the clinical trial process. I'm not saying that the pill is bad. I just want you to think about how to make health decisions for yourself. You want to be especially vigilant, especially staying on top of it. Once I got the information I needed, I started to move in that direction about how to make health decisions for yourself.
In your mind, what would you say to brothers that's not vaccinated or just people in general?
I'm glad to hear you are protected, and thanks for being so honest here on Keeping It 100, because that's what we do. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Keeping It 100. We have these open and honest conversations to make sure you get all the information you need to make better health decisions. I am your host, Dr. Kristin Motley, and as always, we have a really good show for you. During the show, you may think of questions. You may want to say something, give us a shout out, give yourself a shout out. So please put it in the chat. Dr. Renee Jones is on the ones and twos. She will make sure your questions and comments are addressed. So talk to us in the chat, please. Let's bring in my awesome co-host who always telling me what to do, Mr. George Mink Jr.
Yeah, I just took over like the duties.
How you gonna tell me what to do?
I changed the duties around. It's okay. It's only temporary. What's going on, Doc? What's up?
Nothing. How you been? How you living?
I'm doing all right. I'm in the new studio, so you know.
I see your background. CMP.net got a new CMPradio.net got a new home. It's really nice over there too.
Yeah, right. We over town.
I like the vibe.
Yeah.
I like the vibe. All right, good. What you been doing? What the streets saying?
The same thing.
Are people getting their boosters?
I mean, they don't really. Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of people didn't even know it was out.
I know. I've been hearing that. I've been hearing that. A lot of people
that I have been talking to, they didn't even know it was out because there's nothing being said about it.
Yeah, it's true, and it's sad that people don't know that it's available. People don't know that they can get it. It's just nobody's talking about it. But I know one thing. I read something this morning that said cases in Europe are starting to climb up. Like we have plateaued and we've been in a good spot. I mean, we still get about 425 people who die a day of COVID here in America, and cases have been declining, hospital rates have been declining, but I read something today that said that they're looking at an uptick happening in Europe. And what we've known throughout this entire pandemic is whatever happens in Europe, it ends up happening over here, like with the weather changes and all that. So I don't know what the CDC is going to do, but they need to do something and make sure people know that they need to get this booster, because that is what's going to keep the rates down. It's going to keep people out of the hospital. It's going to keep people from dying. So, I mean, child, I just don't want this to be a bad winter.
Right.
I mean, I don't think anybody wants it to be a bad winter. So yes, you are eligible for a booster if you have not had a shot in the last 2 months, if it's been 3 months since you had COVID, and you can get your flu shot and your booster at the same time. You don't need to wait. So whenever there's an opportunity, just go ahead and get them both. There's no need to wait. My mom had texted me and said that she needed her flu, the booster, and her shingles. And I was like, you can get them all together. Kids get 6 to 7 vaccines at one time. So you can get them all together. You don't have to separate them. But I said, if you feel more comfortable, just get the flu shot and the shingle shots together, and then get the booster separate, or however you want to do it. But just make sure you get all of them. So we'll see what she does. But yes, you can get them at the same time. There's no need to separate them. And remember, the government is going to stop paying for this soon, probably by the first of the year. If you don't have insurance, you will have to pay out of pocket. And you don't want to do that, because these drug companies can charge. I saw an estimate that Moderna may charge $100 per shot. And you don't want that to fall on you when it can be paid for now. So y'all, please take advantage of this while the government is paying for it. Okay. I think that's all I'm gonna say about COVID, because hey Portia. Hey. So I think that's all I'm gonna say about COVID. Anything else you want to add about what you're hearing in the streets?
No, I mean, that was the big topic for the week.
Yeah.
They really didn't know that it was out. And these were people that was already vaccinated and boosted.
Okay. Once.
Some of the people that's still on the fence, I just told them to come on over.
Come on. Oh, listen, shout out to people that's just getting their first doses. It's been almost 2 years, and about 15,000 people in per week have been getting their first dose. So shout out to people that's coming around. Good job. You're doing the right thing. We have enough information to know that the vaccines are safe and that they work. Billions of people have gotten this vaccine. Trust me, if something was wrong, it would have come up by now. Yeah. So please get your vaccines. I also want to highlight is Mental Illness Awareness Week. So for the last 2 shows, we've been doing Black men, stress management for Black men. And so I want to highlight Mental Illness Awareness Week. If you need a therapist, if you're considering a therapist, you can go to therapytoday.com. That is scrolling at the bottom, and Dr. Jones can put that in the chat. You can look at the therapist, see if they look like you. I like to use Black therapists because they understand the Black culture. You don't have to explain or tiptoe. It's just much easier for me to talk to a Black therapist. So you can see what the therapists look like, and you can also see what insurances they take. You can put your zip code in and find a person that's near you, but a lot of them offer virtual sessions. So they don't even have to live near you. As long as they take your insurance, you should be good to go.
Right.
Also want to give a shout out to blackmenheal.org. They're a nonprofit organization, and they offer 8 free sessions to men of color. So blackmenheal.org. That's also a link that Dr. Jones can pop in the chat. Black men of color, you get 8 free sessions. Take advantage of that. I believe that everybody needs God and a therapist. And if you got those 2 things, you can't lose. You cannot lose in life. I really, really believe that. George, I know you were talking about having a therapist. Did you ever reach out or?
I didn't get one yet, but I'm in the process. I tried the black website, and it's like a line.
It is a wait list. It's a huge need. Get a line, Jake.
Eagles ticket. You know what I mean? So seriously.
Get on the wait list. Get on the wait list and take your spot in line. I mean, it's free, it's available, and you never know they can have cancellations and bump you up. So just get in line, please. If you're not in line, then you're not going to get help.
Yeah.
So you got to get in line.
I mean, there's other places. I just tried that one. And it's some, like in our neighborhood, there's a lot of them popping up, which is good. Yeah. I'm starting to see more Black therapists. I'm starting to see more people show interest in being therapists.
Yep.
So that's another like career path that we probably wasn't considering back then. So.
It is. And it's important for our people so we can provide care to our people in a way that other people just can't because they just don't know the experiences.
Right.
So, all right. Well, I want you to take care of that. That would mean a lot to me.
I'm gonna work on it. I mean,
I know the Lord is in your life.
I know I always say stuff, but I mean it. Like seriously, I take heed to everything we're saying. Like it mean a lot, and I'm a procrastinator, but like just hearing the facts and hearing it from my folks and knowing you behind the scenes, it do make it easier to make the decision. That's why I feel comfortable about going out in the streets and really pushing our message because that's how you push it to me. So. So I totally get the importance. We this is important. So, but yeah, Doc, I'm working on it. Is that and the physical too? Okay.
George, that's all well and good. I just need you to take some action. Like I like your words.
Okay, the words are smooth, great. Right? Okay.
They all nice, but I need you to take some action.
Okay. This time. All right. Are you going to start seeing me? I'm going to start filming myself. I am going to film myself making a call.
All right. Okay. All right. I want to see it. And then for my ladies, Megan Thee Stallion has a website with mental health resources as well. badbitcheshavebaddays2.com. So y'all can check that out and see what's available from her resources. So just want to make sure we bring light to mental illness awareness and make sure people have access to resources because that's a lot of times we see these disparities in the Black community because we don't know who to call and we don't know where to go. But now y'all know. Real quick, just want to mention that Coolio passed away last week of a heart attack. He was only 59 years old. I don't know his health history, but I do know the high blood pressure and the diabetes and smoking and a number of other things can contribute to your risk in having a heart attack. So I want to encourage you all to know your numbers. That means you got to get your physical done or take advantage of a free blood pressure check. A lot of times we don't know that we're sick until we get to the ER. It doesn't have to be that way. You can stop by and get your blood pressure check for free at most pharmacies or at a health fair or community fair. Take advantage of those free opportunities to know your numbers, because high blood pressure is a silent killer. You don't know that you have it until you check your numbers. And so we have to do better at knowing our numbers. If you don't have a provider, you can always go to Chest Pen if you are in or near Chester. We did a show about all the wonderful services that Chest Pen offers a few weeks ago, so you can check that out. But if you're not in or near Chester, you can't get the Chest Pen, you can go to findahealthcenter.hrsa.gov. You can put that in the chat too. That will also lead you to a health center, a community health clinic that offers free and discounted health services, comprehensive services. So take advantage of these things. And so that's just our health update.
Right.
I hope that was helpful to somebody. Now, for our topic today, we know it's October, is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Breast cancer is the second leading cause of death for women in general. I didn't realize that. The second leading cause of death for women, and it is the number one leading cause of death for Black women as of 2019. So breast cancer is a really big deal. And young Black women particularly are twice as likely to die from breast cancer than white women their age. We're twice as likely to die from breast cancer than white women who have the same age. And so that is a sobering statistic, and we're going to dig into that a little bit today. Why is that the case? So we do know that mammograms, which is a great screening tool for detecting breast cancer, the rates of women getting mammograms has been down since the pandemic, and there is no expectation that they're going to go up to pre-pandemic levels. I don't know what's driving that, but that's sad. And that means that women will have breast cancer that will go undetected, and that may drive death rates. This can be prevented. We just need the ladies to get out and get your mammograms done. Now, I know we all have had a friend or family member who may have had breast cancer or who may have died from breast cancer. Unfortunately, I know my cousin was diagnosed at a young age. She wasn't even 40 yet. She survived. I'm very grateful for that because we work together. We do a lot of great stuff together. But she was really young. She was still in her 30s when she was diagnosed with breast cancer. George, do you have anyone in your family or
Oh yeah,
in your
definitely.
circle that have breast
My
cancer?
mom had it a couple times,
Oh,
but
wow.
more like what's in my mind the most is my cousin Nikki. My cousin Nikki had it. She got diagnosed for breast cancer, but she was like 38, 39,
Wow, she was
and,
young.
and I don't even think she knew that she could get pregnant. So she ended up being pregnant and finding out she had cancer at the same time. I mean,
Oh,
she didn't give me the right to talk about it, but she know I talk about her story like she my Moses. So
yeah,
like
yeah.
this girl survived that, a baby through cancer,
Wow,
and she had to still get treatments and all that while the baby was in her stomach.
wow.
So, and everything was cool. Little London, like she a beautiful princess. My cousin looked good. Like she survived it. Like, I mean, and it was like 4. It was a crazy level. And like her story is crazy. If my
It
cousin
is.
read a book, she if she come out and talk about it, her experience is crazy.
She should definitely write a book because she beat the
Mm-hmm.
odds. I mean, it's tough being young and being diagnosed with
Mm-hmm.
breast cancer in the first place, but to
Right.
be pregnant and have to go on treatment
Uh,
through your pregnancy,
don't know how the
survive
baby
that, and
gonna
then the
be
baby
affected.
survives that. That is like a
Mhm.
miracle. Yeah, she definitely needs to write
Yeah,
a
we
book
might have to
about
bring
that.
her on.
That's the story. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the story for sure. Well, thanks for sharing that. I wanted to bring in our guest today, Lesley, who we know as the COO of CMPradio.net. Les is a cancer survivor, a breast cancer survivor. As many of you know, she is the mother of a beautiful, beautiful princess, Alyssa. She's also transportation associate at Chester Community Charter School. I think we have some pictures of Alyssa. Let's put Alyssa up, please. There
She probably got like 1,000
hey,
pictures
girl. Yeah, I'm sure. There they go. There they go. Chuck E. Cheese, yeah. So she has definitely beat the odds as well. And then we also want to bring in Miss Dianne Hyman. She is a certified oncology nurse. She's been in the game for over 2 decades. She's a transition care manager at MD Anderson Cancer Center at Cooper University Hospital. And she is the honored founder, facilitator of Sister, Will You Help Me? Which is a cancer support group for women of color and faith. That's color and faith. She didn't say just be of color. She said you got to have some faith to come up in this sister group. So listen, I totally get that. So I just wanted to thank you both for being here. Les, we appreciate you for being willing to talk to us about your story. I just wanted to start off by asking, how did you first find out? And how old were you? You're like a year or two younger than I am. So how old were you and how did you first find out?
So I was down my parents' house in North Carolina, and I was just giving myself I was asking my mom because I always had small boobs. So in my mind, I was like, I'll never get breast cancer or anything like that. I don't have to worry about that. So I was getting my checkups once a year when my doctor did it. And so I was talking to my mom and was asking her, like, how do you do a self-examination? I know I'm not going to talk about my sister's story, but my sister was diagnosed 2 weeks prior to me.
Oh, wow.
She was diagnosed with
I didn't know that. Wow.
So that's what made me check. So I was saying to my mom, and I was like, Mom, I feel a lump. And she was like, no, you don't. Because it was kind of like a thing of, denial, especially being as though she had just heard my sister.
Yeah.
And, I was like, feel. And she was like, that feel like your rib cage. And I was like, no, it doesn't. I was like, Mom, feel on this side and then feel on this side.
Wow.
So, she did. And she was like, call your doctor. So, of course, it's pandemic time. So I called my doctor and he's like, well, you have to, she was like, you have to quarantine for 2 weeks after you come back from North Carolina. So I didn't get my check from my doctor. So that was December 27th. I ended up going to my doctor January 19th because being as though I was under 40 at the time, I was only 38.
Okay.
She was like, you have to come in here. We're not going to schedule you for a mammogram without me checking you first. So January 19th, she checked me. She felt the lump and stuff. She scheduled me for my mammogram. I got my mammogram on January the 26th. They checked. They did my mammogram. This is what.
Can we see that picture? Yeah.
So they found a mass. They scheduled me for a biopsy to have the mass checked. I had my mass checked on February 3rd, which was the day before my birthday. Where I was turning 39.
Aquarius, yes.
So on February 4th, which was my birthday, I kind of was just kind of in a funk because of all the, getting a biopsy done. They're stabbing you, they're going in, into your skin and, getting, samples of the mass. So the day after my birthday, my doctor called me and told me I had breast cancer.
Wow.
So I think it took like 2 weeks, and then I went in and they really sat down and went over everything with me.
Wow, that is deep. So this came from you doing a self-exam. So what went through your mind when you got that diagnosis, when they confirmed that it was cancer?
Like, what do I have to do to survive this?
Yes.
And the first thing I said to my doctor was, if you need these joints, take them. Take
Yes, that's good because
Right. That was a
I
good
know Miss Diane is going to tell us some
mentality
stories
though.
about women that don't want to do that because they
Yeah.
look at like this is what makes me
a woman.
yes like a
Yeah.
woman
Pretty
and if I
much.
lose these and I lose a sense of my femininity, I hear about that a lot. But I'm glad that you went into survival mode. You was like, what do I do next? And if you need to take them, then take them. How does your daughter take the news? Like, well, how did you help her to understand?
So that was the hardest part, was just trying to talk to her to get her to understand. So what I did was I went on Amazon and I bought this book. It
Oh
says,
Okay,
"Okay,
wow.
mommy,
mommy,
I
I
will.
will help you. Oh no, my
Wow.
mom has breast cancer."
I love that, and
And
I love
Wow.
that the little baby is a color baby.
Wow.
yes, of
Yes,
course, I had to find one of color,
Yeah.
yes.
and wanted to make sure that, she's seen someone that looks like her, kinky
Hmm.
hair, a dark skinned, beautiful little girl,
Yeah.
and understanding the process that her mom may have to go through. Because in the
Mm.
beginning, I didn't know if I was going to have to do chemo. So, I had hair,
Right.
and stuff like
Right.
that. So,
Yeah.
just going through that. And she asked me, she was like, "Mommy, are you going to lose your hair?" And I was like, "I don't know, but probably
Hmm.
not, you know,
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
Hmm.
they had
You
caught it
just said no.
so early. It didn't move to my lymph nodes. So they caught it so early that they were saying that I didn't have to do chemo
Oh wow.
at
Wow.
first.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
But then they did my so I scheduled myself to have both of my breasts removed before um, my genetic testing came back.
Hmm.
Because my sister, when she got her genetic testing done, she was a BRCA1 carrier.
Wow.
So I automatically knew. I was like, well, that's my sister. We have the same
Hmm.
mom, same dad.
Yeah.
Y'all
Yeah.
I was like, y'all don't have to wait for genetic testing. Schedule me to have my bilateral mastectomy.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And that's what I did. So on
Wow.
May 10th, I had both of my breasts removed with reconstruction.
Wow.
Wow. Okay. I'm gonna bring Miss Diane, but I just want to say how impressed I am
Yo,
with you with
me
all these
too. I
dates.
ain't.
Like you got the dates down. You
Oh,
know when this stuff
Yo,
absolutely.
oh
happened.
my
Like that's
God.
impressive.
Yo, listen. You remind me of my cousin. I told you that when I first heard your story. I told you that. That's deep. And then you bought the book. You
Yeah.
already prepared your mentality to take on with
Yes.
this big obstacle. That's major.
Yes. It
That's
is
major.
huge.
That means you
It's
would put
huge.
the whole thought process together. Like
I
I'm
You
not
was
honestly,
gonna let it
already gonna
linger.
survive.
I'm
I
not
was
gonna
gonna
let it
say,
linger.
honestly, I just looked at it as it was somebody else, but I'm the body that's going through it.
Yeah.
And,
Mm.
me talking about it and talking about the steps and everything, it's like I'm talking about somebody else.
Right.
That's a really good point. And I just
Yo.
want to say one thing. So I was in class yesterday and we were talking about stress management. And one thing that the therapist has said was instead of talking to yourself in a negative way when you fail or mess up or kind of make a bad decision, talk to yourself like you're talking to a friend because we beat ourselves up for stuff all the time. But he said, would you say to a friend that you're stupid, that you're never going to be anything, that you can't get through this? You wouldn't say that to a friend. You would say, it's okay.
Right.
Everything's going to be all right. You got another exam to take. You can get over this. So talk to yourself that way. So it sounds like that's exactly what you did. Like you
Hmm.
stepped out of yourself and
Encourage
talked to
herself.
yourself like you was
Yeah.
talking to a friend. So
Yeah.
you weren't going to lose. Wow,
Wow.
that's amazing. Okay,
Amazing.
Miss
Amazing.
Diane, I know you
We
sitting over
gotta
there
bring
like,
our guests
let
in. I'm
me jump
sorry,
in
sorry,
and do
sorry, Miss
something.
Diane. We are so sorry.
We coming, we
Well, we
coming.
were eating
So,
popcorn because my
so
baby
it
got a
sounds
story. That's
let's
real,
say
that's real talk
it
though.
is. So,
He
so what
was
I'm hearing
superhero
is
for
that
real.
she saved
Seriously.
her life. Like she saved her
Yeah.
own life by doing this
And
self-exam.
her daughters. She
Yeah.
prepared her daughter. She thought like a parent. Because I'm saying, first of all, the mentality is an automatic death wish. Like you
Hmm.
automatically think you're going to
Hmm.
die. That's the first reaction. Like, oh my God. But you just took on a process. Everybody don't die. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? Some people, the process works if they catch it in the right time, and you got to mentally prepare yourself. And that's what you did.
Hmm.
That was a coach. Like, that's a coach. Like, this is what I got to do. So, and it worked out. You know what I mean? You're here to tell your story. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's
It
amazing.
is.
I'm sorry, Miss Diane. I'm sorry.
I need to jump in.
George about to cry.
I'm flying
so
every.
George
Can I
got to the
jump
moment.
in? Can I jump into
Please,
this discussion?
Go ahead, Miss
Yes,
Diane. Talk
Yes,
to us. How
just
you doing?
Lesley, thank you for sharing. And so much was said in her testimony, in her story. We can go on and talk about genetic testing, which is a whole nother talk show. We can go on and talk about her being young and being diagnosed, because one of the American Cancer Society a few years ago had up the mammogram screening to age 45. And there was a lot of controversy because young women such as Lesley and us as minorities are the ones that are dying. So it was a lot of controversy about, raising that screening age to
wow.
45.
That's
So
crazy.
now the age, it is recommended that, you get your first baseline mammogram, average risk woman at the age of 40 with annual, breast exams and a mammogram. But if you have a family history like Lesley, having her sister diagnosed, and or if a mom or sister first degree relative is diagnosed, you really need to get your baseline mammogram like 10 years prior to the age that they were diagnosed. And so just in Lesley sharing her story alone, being a young mom, diagnosed young, being, genetic testing, it's a whole arena for us to encourage other minorities to participate in genetic testing and clinical trials and all of that. And so, thank you for sharing. It's so much. It's so much in the breast cancer, arena. And raising awareness. And George, thank you for sharing about your friend. I have a young lady in my support group that was diagnosed, had a baby. Doctors told her to abort her baby. That baby's 2 years old.
Wow.
Received chemotherapy.
Yeah, London dancing. She on the
man.
dance team.
Yes.
Like,
And so breast cancer is not the death sentence that it used to be. It's almost like a chronic illness. We have millions of survivors, not only living, but thriving, through their diagnosis. And so we have to change that mindset, to getting women screened, and why we're not screening because of fear and different things in our community. And so I always say we've made great strides over the years. We keep the world pink, especially in October. But when it comes to diversity and us as minorities, there's still a lot more work that still needs to be done.
Absolutely.
so, Miss Diane, you want me to break it open, or you got it, Doc?
I was just going to just kind of go into the self-exam real quick, because it sounds like that's what really saved Lesley's life, because had she waited until she turned 40 to get the mammogram, it could have been
it wouldn't have been another stage.
So let's talk about the self-exam and how often we should do it, how to perform it, because I need to get my self-exam skills tightened up, because I have not been doing it. So let's just go through this real quick. Come on, Miss Diane, give it to us.
And so I always tell, especially when I'm talking to young women and any woman, because I'll do education in high school and stuff. We're in the mirror with hair and makeup and eyelashes and everything else. We really, really need to know what our breasts look like. We really need to know what our girls look like and what they feel like, and be comfortable and familiar with performing a breast self-exam, because you will feel, depending on where you are in your cycle, there's lumps and bumps and all kinds of tenderness and changes that take place in our breasts. And so the first thing is just really, really getting comfortable with looking at yourself in the mirror and knowing what your breast looks like, knowing what your normal is, so that when you feel something abnormal, you bring it to a physician's attention. And so pick the same time of each month. If you're still getting your periods, if you're still menstruating, it needs to be 7 to 10 days after that. As you get your cycle, what your breasts engorged and tender and all kinds of changes are happening. And so 7 to 10 days after your cycle is a good time to pick to do a breast self-exam. If you're postmenopausal, just pick a date around your birthday, just something consistent that can remind you to do, that you need to do it. And again, just always check, looking at yourself, making sure, no one breast didn't all of a sudden get enlarged than the other. Your nipple didn't retract, no changes, redness, nothing obvious, because there is a breast cancer called inflammatory breast cancer that will cause changes in the way your breasts look.
Okay.
Yeah, you really want to know, what it looks like, and then begin to do a good breast self-exam, palpating all around, making sure there's no nipple discharge, And I always tell women under your arms too, because our lymph nodes or breast drains to lymph nodes under our arms, and some cancers are diagnosed with an enlarged lymph node under your arm.
Wow.
And so you want to cover that. Breast tissue extends under there as well. And so you want to make sure that you're, covering the entire area of your breasts.
Okay. So that's once a month, about a week after the cycle starts or ends?
After
Stops.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then what about for the mammogram? So you said that it's recommended at the age of 40 or younger if you have a mom or
sister. If you have a family history that had breast cancer, if Lesley's sister was diagnosed at 39, her baseline mammogram should have been around age 29 or 30, almost like 10 years prior to when.
Oh, wow. So that they have a good, okay.
Yeah,
so that they get a good, clear look at, okay.
So you recommend that we go even younger, like if it's in your family, say you might have history in your family, you might want to give it a little earlier check than you would normally.
Especially if it's first degree, a mother or sister.
Wow.
Okay, like Lesley's, because of that, genetic predisposition could occur. And then just preparing for the mammogram. I've heard women say, "Oh, I'll never go back because it's painful and it's uncomfortable, but it definitely should never deter you from having it. It's uncomfortable. A man is at the mammogram machine. I mean, what can I tell you?
My mom had one yesterday. She's still complaining. So.
But,
it's horrible. It's horrible.
But you know what? We have to change that. We got to change the narrative of how we talk about mammogram.
And be prepared for it. It's going to be uncomfortable, but it's not going to be painful forever.
Absolutely. And it's better to get it done and find out than to not get it done and then it be too late.
Absolutely.
Because that's why a lot of us are not surviving, because we're not checking ourselves. I think that's why I was so transparent about my journey through it. I really put everything on Facebook, everything on social media, and a lot of my friends were inboxing me like, "Thank you for doing this."
Yeah, it's good.
I've been so afraid to go and get checked. I said, listen, we have to rally for ourselves. We have to go and advocate for us. We have to go into these doctors and say, hey, look, or, understand that, maybe you have a family member or something in your family. Like my grandfather had breast cancer. Men don't know that they can get.
That's a good point.
That's a good point. That's it. About 2,600 men are diagnosed annually, and the one person always comes to mind. Some of y'all may be too young, but remember the actor Richard Roundtree. He's a minority breast cancer.
Remember
Richard Roundtree.
He was super fly. Wait, he was something. Oh, yeah.
He was one of them.
But about 2,600 men are diagnosed annually. So they're not, men can get it. Men have breast tissue.
Yes.
And so again, especially if it's genetic, like in Lesley's family, she carries that genetic gene. So men and female have a 50% chance of inheriting that gene and increasing their risk greatly for breast cancer. So for men, if they notice any external changes in their skin or nipple, anything changes in their breast, tissue as well, absolutely need to bring it to a physician's attention.
Wow.
Miss Dianne, why do Black women get the most aggressive form? Like, why do we have the highest rates of the most aggressive form? Has that been studied? Are there any?
So triple negative breast cancer, Lesley, and I'm not sure if you were considered triple negative, but what that simply means is that the cancer itself is negative for estrogen. Most breast cancers, majority of breast cancers feed off of estrogen, feed off our hormone, a female hormone. Okay. If you're triple negative, that means that estrogen is negative, progesterone is negative, and this protein called HER2/neu is negative. And all of that, for whatever reason, leads to a poor prognosis. In that subtype of breast cancer, it's a poor prognosis. There's fewer medications available to treat triple negative, although we have great medications coming down the pipeline and some things have been developed. But it's poor prognosis, usually more aggressive, and for whatever reason, is found in younger African-American women, higher incidence of getting triple negative as well. A lot of research is being done. Some say associated to obesity and breast density may increase our risk as minority women. But again, there's a lot of research out there. But It's a rare, it's the aggressive form of breast cancer that unfortunately we as African Americans get more often.
Wow.
Yeah. So my sister had triple negative, but mine was progesterone, estrogen positive, HER2 negative. Yeah.
You better know your stuff, Liz.
That's you got your doctorate too.
Yes, that's the thing. That's the thing.
Listen, when I tell you, like, they were telling me everything, and I'm like just sitting there, just like looking at my chart. When they first told me I was diagnosed, I did everything through Christiana, so they put everything on the portal, and I'm just sitting there just reading everything, educating myself on what's what, how the treatment process is, and everything. Like, I really wanted to go into this with the open mind that I need to survive.
Yeah, and it's a journey. It's, and it's another side to through. And Lesley, I applaud you as well, because there's so many survivors. I'll add, you have to know what cancer was it? So I don't know. I just had a breast cancer. All of those things are very, very important, and we have to be our own best advocate. You have a voice. You have to ask questions. I advocate for second opinion, third opinion, so that you can get the answers that you need. I will share with you that I still see so many women almost like paralyzed with fear that are watching a breast cancer grow, before they're diagnosed. And that's the other, most times we're diagnosed at later stages, and that's why that increases our death rate as well.
Yeah. I want to point to the chat. I'm trying to keep an eye on it. You're getting a whole bunch of love in the chat from Portia, Lisa, Anitra. Everybody's like, yes. Curtis, so you get a lot of
teammates. They are her They was her fan only page when she was going through this.
When I tell you, my support system was just crazy, amazing. Like, even when I remember my pathology report came back after my surgery, and they told me that because my onco score was high, which is the percentage of cancer coming back was high, I had to do chemo. So they told me I had to do 16 rounds of chemo, even though technically I was cancer.
You normally wouldn't have to
when they removed my breast.
Yes, but what's good, Lesley, that's how far we've come with research, that now we have oncotyping, which literally looks at the genetic makeup of her tumor and gives a predictive factor of her risk of it coming back. Years ago, just based on her age, she would have got chemo. 38 years old, you bought yourself chemo. But now we're able to even have more targeted therapy. So we've come a long way in how we treat breast cancer, and that's an important factor that you knew that too. That's why she needed chemo.
She out here killing it. She is killing
it. Lesley didn't listen.
I didn't know that term.
Girl.
Can you repeat the term?
Because oncotype.
Yeah, like UNCLE, like my uncle.
ONCO.
Oncology. Like oncology. I'm like,
hello.
What's my uncle? So, ladies, listen. If you get diagnosed with breast cancer, you want to know what is your oncotype, so that you'll know what the risk is of it coming back. That's a question that you need to ask, because they may not tell you. So you want to know what questions that you need to ask up front to prepare yourself through this journey. So thanks for sharing that, because that
was major.
Yeah, that was good. I see Portia said she had been scared to get it, but hearing this, she said she's going to do it. So we're going to make sure we follow up with Portia.
Follow up, and if you need,
Portia, please.
Yes, and that's why, when Lesley spoke about her support group, you need that. That's why I birthed Sister Will You Help Me, because there was no minority breast cancer support groups in South Jersey area at the time, and people want to see people that look like them. Yes, breast cancer is breast cancer, and we love our white counterparts, but things are different.
Right.
Lifestyles and challenges, and the challenges that we experience are different. And so that support is so important to help each other get through, and to encourage each other. And you see a 20 plus year survivor, that gives you hope. Hey, he did it for you, he do it for me. I can. Right?
Exactly.
That kind of lead us into our next question, like about the support group. me and Doc was talking, and we was talking like everybody's situation is different. So like Les or Miss Diane, like we talking about like your mate support. How important is that? Like, you know, the person you with, or even your best friend, you know, because everybody don't have it. Like Lesley, the whole city love Lesley. So, but I'm just saying, what if somebody is somebody that don't, like, how important is the mate, you know, in
Or
this?
like a dad or like an uncle, what
Right,
is the
right,
male
right,
role when a female is diagnosed with breast cancer? How can they best support you, Lesley,
right.
or
Thank you,
like
Doc.
other women? I got you. I got you.
Right, right,
I really think it's just being there, just being the person that they can come to and feel most comfortable. People don't understand when, especially like a decision of having both of your breasts removed, mentally you're really just like, wow. I just and I ended up getting an infection, so they had to stop the process
Wow.
of my
mm,
of me doing my reconstruction, and they had to take my expanders back out. So I had
wow,
emergency surgery a month after having my original surgery. So being flat, and that means no breast tissue, no nothing, just totally flat
boy,
for
right,
almost a year, and really just looking at yourself
Mm,
like this is, some women, I mean, it can really get you, so you do need somebody that's going to be support, that's going to tell you you're beautiful.
Yes.
right, wow, okay,
That man has to be the one that tells you you're beautiful, even if you
wow,
don't see that you're beautiful, even if you don't feel that you're
mhm.
beautiful.
mm-hmm,
you know Understanding that when you have this done, like, it's some days that everybody sees me all cheerful and stuff. There's some days I get out the shower and I look and I'll be like, I can't believe I went through this.
right,
You
Mm,
know, I can't, these are my chest will never look the same again. I'll never
mm-hmm,
mhm.
look like a normal woman again.
mm-hmm,
But
Yeah.
then I'm like, but I'm alive. I can tell my
right,
story.
right,
Thank you, Lord.
And I'm gonna
yeah,
save my friend over here, and I'm gonna save that
wow,
girlfriend
Yes.
over there, and
wow,
I'm gonna save my
Yes.
cousin. When I was diagnosed, I inboxed all my cousins together. I said, listen, y'all need to go and get y'all genetic testing done. I
Yes.
said, because something is, lingering, especially with me and my sister both being diagnosed.
Mhm.
Please go and get your genetic testing. Let them know you need to
Cousins,
get a
two cousins.
mammogram.
Yeah.
You have two cousins that just was diagnosed, and really, really go in
mm-hmm,
there and tell them, we're young. My sister was 41, going on
mm,
Mm,
42 when she was
super
diagnosed.
young.
mm,
Wow. Wow, that is a lot. That's
wow,
a
It's
lot.
a
Well,
lot.
thank
That's
God for
that's
your
good.
testimony and for being willing to
Yes.
share it and for encouraging your family and your friends to do
yeah,
the same. So
yeah,
hopefully,
yeah,
ladies, get your mammograms done. Now, should they be done each year or is it every two
Yeah.
years?
Every year.
Every
It should
year.
every
be
year,
Every
every
year.
wow,
every
And
year.
I know that Dr. Jones put in the chat that there are some insurance companies that'll offer incentives if you get your mammograms done. So check your insurance
oh
benefits
yeah, I
and
think my mom
take
said we should get
advantage.
like a Walmart card or something.
Let me get a Walmart. Let me go get my mammogram real quick. Yes. So take advantage of those, but do it for your health. Do it for your
Right,
health. Get in and make sure that you get it scheduled and get it done. Um,
mm-hmm.
all right, good. So we're going to wrap up. I guess our last questions for you guys is, and we'll start with you, Miss Diane. What is one thing you want women or people to know about breast cancer that they may not know? That what are you hearing all the time that you're shocked that people don't know?
Um, I think my take home message is that early detection really does save lives. There's still a lot of myths in our community that
Right,
we really, really need to work to dispel those myths and alleviate the fear. Like, I cannot tell you how many women have presented with fungating, eroding breasts because of fear.
Oh my
wow,
goodness.
And so we have to
Oh my
really
goodness.
work to change the mindset, to change the dialogue, that it's not a death sentence anymore.
right,
It's almost as chronic as diabetes,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
right,
real. That's how well people can live
Mhm.
with this disease and be cured of it. And so if just really dispelling myths within our community, really being your own best advocate, and getting rid of the fear. because fear paralyzes people and it will cost you your life.
Yeah. Thank you for that. So we have to address the fear. Why are you afraid, and getting through that? And that may mean that you need to speak to a therapist. And we gave you the resources for therapy. You can start off with Psychology Today, or just call the insurance number on your card, and you can also find a therapist that way too. All right, Les, what do you want to share with people? Like, what do you want women to know that they may not know?
Just like I said earlier, advocate for yourself. You know, get checked. You know, don't be afraid. You know, it can save your life. If you do get the diagnosis, don't be afraid to let your breast go so that you can live your life. You know, being young and diagnosed and making that decision is like, all right, I'm gonna live. You know, sometimes when you get a lump removed, or, you know, one breast removed, it can go to the other one. You know, and or the lump can, you know, they can get part of the lump, but then have to go in and get the rest of it. You know, so you end up losing a breast anyway. Don't be afraid. Let them go. You will save your life. You will save your life, and you can live another 20, 30, 40 years to be able to tell your story and say you survived.
Wow. Hey, Doc, we might have to sign her up for her own nonprofit, and
yes,
we're gonna partner
get
with her.
Because
this girl I'm ready to sign up.
Yeah,
she got to be
seriously. This was a great show. This was a great show, y'all. Like, this was very informative. Thank you, Miss Dianne. Les, wow, you're a superhero. Seriously, that's what we're gonna name the nonprofit, the superheroes.
Yes. That's awesome, Lesley. Thank you for being here, and thank you for sharing your story. Miss Dianne, thanks for taking time away from work to educate our community. We appreciate it. Ladies, please get your mammograms and do your self-exams. Lesley found her own lump. She didn't wait 2 years to get the mammogram done. A lot of people are behind because of COVID. Mine was due in 2021. I wasn't going nowhere, but I went out in 2022 and got my mammogram done a few months ago. So, ladies, get caught up. Let's not be a part of the statistic. We're going to put a link in the chat to tell you of a video that was created by Miss Dianne and her amazing team on how to prepare for your mammogram. So we'll put that YouTube link in the chat. Upcoming events for us, you can check us out at our COVID and flu vaccine and booster clinic at Homecoming. We'll be out there, Homecoming, doing COVID shots and boosters and flu shots at Homecoming from 10 to 2. So come out and get your vaccine. Make sure you tune in to Keeping It 100 next week, right here, 12:15 on cmpradio.net. We're going to have a dietitian on to talk about foods to eat and to avoid to decrease your cancer risk. So we're going to keep this cancer theme going, but we're going to open it up to like, how do we prepare our bodies through what we eat to decrease overall cancer risk? So that'll be a good show next week. So tune in. Thanks everybody for checking in. Hey, everybody in the chat. Y'all all have a great day.
Thank you.
And don't let insurance be a barrier. If you're uninsured, you can still get a mammogram.
How you do that?
If there is a in every county, in every state in this nation, there is a free screening program. And
really,
reach out to me, and I
can get that information.
All right, so we'll make sure to share.
Every county has a free screening program.
Thank you for throwing that in. Thank you for throwing that in. So y'all reach out. We are going to make sure if y'all need information and you don't have insurance, we will make sure you get the information you need to know where to go get your mammogram. So that's no excuses. So we done with the excuses. All right. See y'all.
I was going to say something informative real quick. If you live in Delaware and you have insurance in Delaware and you do things through Christiana Care, they have a low income program with Christiana Care at their hospital where they will pay your doctor bills.
Wow.
If you can't afford to pay them.
Okay.
That was one of our questions
to Delaware
too.
If y'all don't have insurance.
That was one of our questions.
That was a whole bunch of stuff.
Well, use somebody's address.
Resources. Lord, we're gonna have to do a whole part 2. You right. So I see that Dr. Jones put the link in the chat on how women in Pennsylvania can get their free mammogram. So check out that link. All right, I don't want no bill for going over my time.
It's okay. I'm on here today.
Yeah.
So.
I'll talk to the boss and tell him.
All right. It's on you.
It's my fault.
All right, thanks, y'all. Everybody have a great day.
Thank you very much. All right, Doc.
Bye-bye.
And so I think it's important that you understand the clinical trial process. I'm not saying that the pill is bad. I just want you to think about how to make health decisions for yourself. You want to be especially vigilant, especially staying on top